Well, my little maniacs, once again, we are here at Planet Comic Con 2014, and I am standing here with hip-hop royalty, Mr. Darryl McDaniels, DMC from RUN-DMC. Mr. McDaniels, how are you today?
How you doing? I'm doing really good. Planet Comic Con is off the hook.
It is off the hook. Now, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing here at Comic Con today?
Well, I'm here hanging out with the people, but also introducing my comic book that I'm working on. Well, actually, we're going to introduce a graphic novel series, but we're going to get ready to do a graphic novel book / comic book series. And the reason why I'm doing it is because before I picked up the microphone and started rocking the house around the globe, I was a normal young man, like all the other young men and women out there as a kid. And before hip-hop, it was comic books for me. So I was a big Marvel fan.
Right.
So my friends, this is my man Ed, he's my editor-in-chief, Edgardo.
Ed, nice to meet you, my friend.
Nice to meet you too, They convinced me to do something good to represent creativity, hip-hop simultaneously. And it was like, look at what you did when Run-DMC and Adidas came together.
Oh, yes.
Look what happened when Run-DMC and Aerosmith came together.
Oh, my goodness.
So imagine if DMC, hip-hop, and comic books comes together.
That's huge.
Something good, right. Something good's going to happen.
Now, are you a character in this comic book?
Yes, in the comic book, DMC is a superhero. And this isn't a hip-hop comic book, and I'm not a rapping superhero.
Okay.
In this universe we're in right now, Darryl McDaniels grows up to be the king of rock, the microphone master, devastator Mike and
the guy we know.
Right, to hang out with Run and Jay and do what we did.
Right.
But in the alternate universe, in the other universe where we're at simultaneously, Darryl McDaniels grows up to be a real superhero.
Oh.
So in this universe, you have supernatural and superhuman forces at play, just like other comic book stories. We're very, very rooted in superhero storytelling.
Yep.
But what makes our book stand out differently is that we're painting a version of New York City that we grew up in.
Right.
Wild style
It's gonna be
graffiti,
authentic.
B-boys, B-girls battling one another, block parties, the crack era.
So it's got
The
a
80s and
graffiti feel, the whole comic book.
Right,
It has a New York City feel.
Yeah,
So
New York
there may be
City.
there may be some hip hop in terms of how you see it visually, but there's also some punk rockers.
Right.
There's also it's a
Right
New
up my
York
alley.
City- It's a New York City vibe that we're trying to give throughout the whole world via our book. And our book is going to be a traditional superhero story, except that the protagonist is actually DMC.
Right. And it's more of a tribute to comic book culture, too.
Right.
One of the things that we said we want to do, we don't want to disrespect the culture.
No.
We're going to have the integrity there. It's going to be a celebration of what comic books, with Star Trek, with Star Wars, with all the horror flicks to that genre.
Yes.
We're celebrating it. It's a tribute to it.
Like we do.
We don't want to be I don't want to be the rapper with my hip-hop honchos messing up and disrespecting the real deal.
That's right.
It's got to be real.
It's got to be
Our whole
real.
approach as artists is we are artists that are full aware of a culture that has been around and will continue to be around before us.
Right,
and
with
has
or
been around
without us,
before,
it exists.
And
Exactly.
it's been around before and will be around after us. But in knowing this, what we're trying to do with our book, like Darryl is saying, is give a tribute to the culture.
Right.
Give a tribute by actually bringing in artists. So Sal Buscema, who drove from Marvel through the 70s into the
Was a
90s,
big
and even
part of our
nowadays,
life.
he was a big part of Darryl's life when he was drawing Captain America and Falcon in the 1970s.
Right.
Sal Buscema is actually doing a wraparound cover for our first graphic novel.
Wow.
So we're trying to incorporate past, present, and future in the now.
Now, somebody was telling me that Kansas City is on the cover of one of these comic books.
Yes,
Here
it
we go
is.
right here.
Here we go
Oh,
right
look.
here.
Kansas City right there.
He created an original cover. This is actually drawn by Felipe Smith, who's actually one of the artists that we featured in our full-length graphic novel. And what we wanted to do is show love back to the fans. I think that's Godzilla. He's probably missed his lunch. But anyway, back to our story. In that kind of giant monster format, we drew a larger-than-life DMC on the cover, walking over the convention center.
Because we got to keep it real.
That's
Why
right.
are you going to come to Kansas City and not represent for Kansas
That's
City?
right, my friend.
And
You know how
much
we do.
love to Kansas City because they've shown us nothing but love. Yesterday, we actually had an amazing group of B-boys and B-girls come
Yeah,
out and
we had
dance
like a
for
block
us.
party here.
We have a local DJ who has actually been spinning beats for us nonstop the whole weekend.
You got up and rapped a little bit
Yeah,
today.
I got up and performed.
He threw
and stuff,
down.
and that's what we do.
That's
I
what
know
you
that's
do.
what we
One of the
do.
things we're trying to do with Comic-Con to really present it to the fans, because they're coming here, they're shelling out their cash to come in, but we want to give them something more for the dollar. We want to give them an experience.
An experience.
When we grew up on hip-hop, it was a block party experience before there were CDs, before there were MP3s, before there were digital downloads. It was an experience that was...
You had the dance
like,
crews, you
right,
had everything,
it was
man.
Dance, it was visual,
old
it was
and
artistic.
we're bringing that back to Comic-Con.
I mean, I was talking to you about that last night when I met you the first time. I was telling you I had the first rap album I ever had was your first album. The very first, Rockbox. I mean, you know, that influenced me. 1984. I was very much younger back then. You know, maybe like 400 years old, something like that.
You was only 400.
Right. But I had my own b-boy crew back in the day, believe it or not, and we threw down to some Run-DMC, UTFO, Houdini, a bunch of white boys out in the suburbs, man. We were throwing it down.
And you know, and it was just like you said, it was exciting, it was experience, it was a celebration. And everything, when you look at entertainment now, it seems like they don't give creativity its just due. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when I saw the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, yes.
What was good about that, it wasn't like these overly hyped horror films now. It was scarier than the scariest.
It was.
I mean, that in Jaws.
Oh, yes, of course,
Kinda
Jaws.
like, whoa.
Yes.
But we just want to transcend generations. Like yesterday, you told me your favorite, when I asked you, what's your favorite films? You told me your favorite films.
Yes.
And it's so much more than what people expect.
It is.
And that's what this comic book, it represents black, white, Puerto Rican. If you love Star Wars, if you love horror, if you love the Ninja Turtles, if you love hip hop, if you love rock and roll, if you love punk rock, even if you love opera, there will be something in there.
We've done work with the Kansas City Ballet, so all our fans are doing everything.
Exactly.
But the most important thing that we're doing with our book is, man, we're going to have fun. We just want to have a lot of fun, tell some really fun stories, give a lot of young artists an opportunity to do their best
we're
work.
making opportunities for all writers and artists.
We just want to have fun.
And that's what the original hip-hop idea was about. It wasn't about what it is today. It was about having a positive attitude and lifting yourself up. And that's where Run-DMC started, with a positive message.
Right, it's so cool that people forget that Houdini made a song called The Haunted House of Rock.
That's right.
Do you remember that?
And if you listen to that,
they talk like you on
that's
that
right,
record.
they do. I have that record, my
I was
friends.
flashing back thinking, oh man, I forgot Houdini was down.
That's
See,
right.
So it's already there.
Yeah, and they had a positive message
It was
too, you know.
dope, yeah.
Friends, how many of us have
Remember,
them?
yeah. I mean, we used to do the big civic centers and the Coliseums.
Yeah,
And to see the Fresh Fest, the Raising Hell Tour, Together Forever, and to see 30,000 people singing Friends together. I mean, that was the one time the gangbangers wasn't fighting.
Yes.
Because they were all arm in arm going friends, just loving the hip hop.
Breakdancing, throwing down, doing their thing.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the state of hip hop today? How do you feel about the message they're putting out?
One thing I never do is disrespect or critique. I can never disrespect through criticism anybody else's creativity, but what hip-hop is lacking now is responsibility. What I mean by that, the artists don't care about the audience no more. KRS-One, Dougie Fresh, Eric B. and Rakim,
all the greats.
De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest,
my goodness.
Leaders of the New School,
Public Enemy.
Grandmaster Flash, Public Enemy, Funk. We cared about the audience first and foremost.
Right.
And then secondly, it's not creatively exciting anymore.
Right.
You know, and you got to understand what happened. Hip-hop used to just be Friday and Saturday night. So you had to be real creative, you had to be real innovative, you had to be real dope with concepts and deliveries to get your record played. Right now, it seems like I don't think hip-hop is dumbed down. Like people always say, yo, hip-hop is so dumbed down now because, you know, the lyrics and the songs and the beats are so stupid. No, hip-hop is lazy. Hip-hop don't want to address the issues that affect those people in the audience. Hip-hop is afraid to admit that it was powerfully positive that allowed a transformation to where it became this big business. There's a lack of responsibility, and the only real, I don't blame the artists or the producers or anything like that. They got to understand the record companies don't care about the audience. The record companies only care about the dollars.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You in a record company is in business to sell records. So if the stupidest, most negative immature, ignorant record is the hot record, they're going to promote that. And when you want to come and be Houdini or LL Cool J or Ice Cube or Public Enemy or Will Smith, they're going to say what you do is fine, but could you be a little more like 50 Cent? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't
sell
need
some more records.
Right, we don't need 50/50s. We need 150,
Right,
one LL,
right,
one
right.
like that. We
And I
need
think
that.
The originals.
And I think just to add to what DMC is saying, in terms of musically, what rap is lacking is just much more diversity. And there is an amazing movement of unsigned independent artists out there
On the
that need a
independent
lot
side.
more visibility
Right.
in Kansas City, in LA, in New York
Right.
City, in Mississippi.
Yeah,
Globally,
you're right.
internationally.
That's true,
And
too.
it's a musical, artistic genre. And if it is that, then it should be open to all
Right, should
expressions
experience
of
all of
that.
it. Yeah, it's not wrong with gangster rap. But right after that, you should hear somebody saying, don't be in a gang and go to school.
Right.
It's not wrong telling your story about you being locked up.
Right.
But then you need to rap it that says,
Say,
"I'm
don't do
me.
this."
I didn't want
Right.
to go to jail.
Learn
I tell the
from me.
kids, I don't want to go to jail because I like my freedom. I don't want to shoot nobody. I don't want to get shot because it hurts. You know what I'm saying? So I rhymed, I'm DMC in a place to be. I go to St. John's University. Since kindergarten, I acquired the knowledge. After 12th grade, I went straight to college. Now, when the younger generation heard me say that, they said, wow, the most baddest MC on the face of the planet says school is cool.
That's right.
So some of them kids chose to go to school.
That's right.
Some of the kids chose to get in the gang.
That's right.
Nothing against anybody. But it's supposed to be the complete picture of it. And that's what our comic, by the way, this is yours.
Oh my goodness! Are you going to sign it for me?
I'll definitely
Oh,
sign it. Our comic book is just going to be creatively, visually, artistically, and stylishly flavorful universally for everybody.
Now
you know that.
Speaking of children and all that stuff, you do a lot of work with children's rights organizations, and you started your own.
Yes, yeah. At the age of 35, after doing everything that I did with RUN-DMC, this is before Jay got shot and killed. Rest in peace, Jam Master Jay.
Peace, Jake.
We was on the road touring. You know, we was in Asia, we was in Europe. We was just on the road being RUN-DMC. Every night I would come off stage and go back to my hotel room, and I would lay in my hotel room and I would say, there's got to be something more to life than just being DMC, the king of rock, which is a beautiful thing.
Right.
But something inside me was awakened. It's almost like kind of parallel with the superhero story. I never knew what I was really put here to do. And I kind of got depressed, and I was drinking myself to death, and I just got to the point where I didn't want to live no more because of this. Not because of I was disappointed with my great accomplishments. I came to this conclusion because I read all these metaphysical books. I went to Barnes and Nobles and Borders, and somebody told me about this guy, Deepak Chopra. So I went and brought all these books, Meaning of Life, Life Purpose of Life. And in that section is the metaphysical section. So I'm reading Catholic, I'm reading Hindu, I'm reading Buddhist, I'm just reading all these spiritual books.
And you're listening to Sarah McLachlan.
And I'm listening to Sarah. That's the only thing keeping me alive.
Right.
I said, Sarah McLachlan, and her music is so beautiful. Jack Daniels and Jim Beam may be my best friends, but I'm in love with this lady right here.
Right.
And basically what happened was I came to this conclusion. I've accomplished what I was put here on this plane existence to do. I became DMC,
You were
the
MC.
king of rock.
You were the MC
So
of MCs.
instead of waiting until I died in a plane crash, or I got shot, or I died in a car accident, or I said, I'm going to speed this up a little. Well, look, instead of waiting until I die of old age, I want something to happen now so I can move to the next place. I was thinking of killing myself. Fortunately, I didn't kill myself. But I came to this revelation that, people know the DMC story. They know what RUN-DMC and Jay did. First to go gold, first to go platinum. But nobody knows the little boy Darryl, who's just like all the other little kids. So I said, just in case I do die by whatever means, I want the world to know about Darryl. So I called my mother up at age 35. Hey, Mom, I'm writing a book. I know my birthday's May 31st, 1964. 3 things I want to know to make it more interesting for the reader. How much did I weigh? What hospital? What time? She told me those 3 things, hung up the phone. Hour goes by, she calls back with my father. This is at age 35 over the telephone at one of the worst periods of my life. Hey, son, hey, Dad, how you doing? We have something else to tell you. Well, what is it? Well, you was a month old when we brought you home and you're adopted, but we love you, bye.
Oh my goodness.
So right then and there, the whole world just, it was like a movie, exploded.
Wow.
In a big bang explosion, but then it went back. That energy, even though it was kind of shocking, kind of unfortunate. What do you mean I'm adopted and nobody told me?
Right.
It filled the void. I'm DMC, Darryl McDaniels, of RUN-DMC, first to go gold, first to go platinum, but I'm also adopted. Something I didn't know about my identity. With that knowledge, I just started talking about being adopted, and then I found out I was a foster kid. So I realized I was giving this platform of hip-hop to do something special. When I walk in a room with other foster kids who feel a little different because they're foster kids, they're no different from any other kid.
No different from you.
Right, and the fact that they're here, they have a purpose and destiny they can't even practically comprehend. So my message to working with these kids is, regardless of your situation, you're homeless, you're a foster kid, you're adopted, you're living in a group home, some of these kids are incarcerated in juvenile detention centers. You're going to make mistakes. But the fact that you here, there's something special was put here to do, and hip-hop represents that. So when I go speak to a kid, I'm not a social worker, I'm not a politician, I'm not even a priest or a pastor.
You're one of them.
I'm one of them.
That's right.
And that's what I represent, so that's why I work with them.
You've represented that your whole career, my friend.
Without knowing.
It's a proud career.
Right.
Yes,
So
right.
when I was ready to kill myself, it was the universe saying, uh-oh, we got to tell him now.
Right.
We got to
Right.
tell him he's adopted. Oh, we got to wrap up. Don't worry. Edit that out. But, so we're here, and I think what I represent is, whether you're rapping, whether you're making movies, whether you're writing, whether you're tap dancing, whether you're doing opera, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a chemist or physicist, something that you're passionate about, use the arts to express it.
That's right.
Like you're doing.
We're passionate about drive-ins, and you were freaking out that we had a drive-in theater.
I bugged out. I was like, do those still exist?
That's right. We have the world's first 4K digital drive-in. It's the world's most advanced drive-in. It's like watching your HD TV. We hooked that up. I got a live stage, everything. I put you up on the big screen when you rap.
We need to do a show then.
We're doing it. It's done.
We're going to talk to my manager about that. Show people
right.
a movie and they'll come out and say, we have a special treat for y'all. I mean, because
We'll do
lately
it.
we've been doing
We show
baseball
Crush
games.
Groove.
Yeah,
We
show
show
Crush
Groove.
Groove.
We
and
show the old
I'm gonna
movies.
do a live set.
Oh, dude, it's on.
That's what we do. See, that's how we do it.
There you go.
This is how we do
You heard it here, right here on Drive-In Movie Maniacs. He's coming to the Boulevard Drive-In.
Right. How could I be on Drive-In Movie Maniacs and not come to the Drive-In?
That's right, my friend. There we go.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. All right, my friend. Now, is there a website that people can keep track of you?
Yes. We got
www.dmc-comics. That's dmc-comics.com. And follow us on Twitter at DMC Makes Comics. Follow us on Instagram at DMC Makes Comics. And find us on Facebook.
Yes.
There you go, my friends. And now, Drive-In Movie Maniacs is officially down with the king, my friends. Excellent, right here. DMC, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Now, you get back to the movie, and we'll talk to you a little bit later on. Okay.